Welcome everybody to All Stars and Stripes Heroes Connection. This is a networking meeting for military veterans, first responders, their families, advocates, or anybody who wants to do business to business networking with us. So it's welcome to everyone. So for the next 50 something minutes, 54 minutes here, we start each meeting with a moment of silence, and then we have the Pledge of Allegiance, the national anthem. I'll talk a little bit about what the scuttlebutt.club is, and then everybody will get a chance during the business briefs to take 60 seconds to tell about yourself, your business, where you're from, how we can help you, anything you want to use for your business during that 60 seconds, and also put your information in the chat anytime during the meeting, but especially at that time. And then from after that, we have our hero highlight and our spotlight speaker. And then we end the meeting with the inspirational thought and announcements and reminders. So without further ado, I'll get us going here. Now, if you're able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, so it'd be the time for that. Let me know if for some reason you cannot hear.
I pledge
I
allegiance,
pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now, the national anthem. This is an interesting one.
Four-time whistling champion and member of the Whistling Hall of Fame, Chris Ullman, who will now honor our nation with his rendition of our Star-Spangled Banner. What y'all think of that one?
Wow.
Yeah, my dad could whistle just about that good. He was a good whistler. Made me think of him when I saw that.
That was
Okay, so
incredible.
if you go to the scuttlebutt.club in your browser, it'll take you to a page that looks like the one on the right on your computer. It has our Zoom registration link that you can share that page with people you want to invite. Be sure to point out it says please use email used for your Zoom account, not whatever email you use for the Alignable account or any other account. That usually tends to be the one thing that keeps people from being able to register, where we've had the most problems. So there's also a meeting agenda. There is a spotlight speaker form they can click on to sign up to be a spotlight speaker if they would like to be. There's also a link to schedule a one-to-one meeting with me. There's our Facebook link, YouTube channel, and Alignable. So everything is right there. and it is somewhat under construction. I started adding a directory. If you scroll down, some people are on there, but I've got a lot more to add when time allows. So I am going to stop sharing my screen right now so that I can turn this portion over to our co-host, Marianne, and she will call on everybody and kind of take the meeting from this part from here.
Okay. Well, can everybody hear me? Yep. Okay, Santa
Yes.
Papa John's here. He's going to be our timer. You're all set, Santa. Okay, Melissa, let's start with you today.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Melissa. I'm helping to serve families and businesses and making sure that we help to eliminate some of the market risk and the fees and the taxes that we're all facing and helping them where they save and where they place their money. And also helping families save on their retirement, maybe switching that over to a better position where that might also work a little bit better for them. We show them how to make their money last through retirement. And we can help everybody from 15 days old all the way up to in their 70s. And sorry, I'm a little hoarse today, but I'm looking forward to talking to everybody on here. And thank you very much.
Are you a pony today?
I am a pony today. I feel like it.
There you go. Okay, Angela.
Hi, I am Angela. I go under the name Starship Solutions because I have a lot of solutions that are out of this world. No, I teach people how money works with the How Money Works books and help people with financial services such as getting their insurance, 401k rollovers, setting up your children's college savings funds, retirement accounts, making sure everything is set up for your future. And I also am a Legal Shield associate, so I can help you get your legal affairs in order. And I do have a couple other tools in my belt as well, one of them being Rock Financial for business loans. If you have a business where you're need a little bit of extra kick, like a kind of adding a kicker to your margarita. Um, but anyways, that's me, Angela, with Starship Solutions.
All right, great. Thank you. Suzanne, would you like to tell us a little bit about you? You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, Ruben invited me to sign in. My name is Suzanne Fight. I have 35 years in the field of assistive technology, working with families and educators and parents of all different kinds of challenges, whether they're physical, cognitive, or developmental. When I retired, I realized ChatGPT offered many of those resources. So I sat down and wrote a book called Family Adventures from A to Z using ChatGPT. So it's a how-to book. It's how to ask the right questions, how to make the right connections, and how to have fun with the family and how to connect. So that's really where I'm coming from. And Ruben thought it'd be a good idea to talk to some people and see, because it really is about connecting and communicating with family and friends. So everything from trips to homework to anything that we need to have done, even virtual assistant, just to have that support. And this world of AI is coming into us.
It
I
is.
put
Thank you.
my information's in the chat.
Great. Thank you so much, Suzanne. Cliff, you're up.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet everyone again. I've been to this group maybe once or twice. My name is Cliff Blade. I own Blade Marketing and Design. We partner with small medical practices and service-based businesses ready to grow. Our work kind of focuses on helping them get found online, build patients and clients trust quickly, convert more leads with clear messaging, high impact websites, and local search engine optimization. I'm here to just kind of meet people. I'm prior service as well, and hopefully make some good connections.
Welcome.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Cliff, put your contact information in there. And if anybody has, well, most of you have an Alignable account. Many of you have a Facebook or a LinkedIn account. Please put your links there too, because it's so much easier to connect with people on different social media as opposed to sending them an email. Okay, Santa Papa John, you're up.
All right, folks, I'm Santa Papa John, and what does Santa do after Christmas? Well, right here, he's a storyteller. I'm stepping on Mike's footprints. Nah, Mike does things a total different than I do. I actually read the stories that Mike wants to, think he can write. I put smiles and giggles and laughters on people's faces all over the world, and I'm reaching out to activity directors for nursing homes, senior care centers, and I never hit my button. Look at that. I'm going to cheat myself. For group homes as well, because those people deserve to smile and giggle and laugh just as much as anybody else. But I also have another website for all you beautiful veterans on here. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your sacrifice. The Warriors Beacon of Home is a website where I'm slowly compiling a list of services, meetings, and scholarships. Because, Ruben goes on vacation and he's in Buffalo, New York, and he suddenly needs some services. Where does he go search? If he doesn't know anybody in the club's organization or group, he doesn't know when the meetings are. We need to change that because we're the biggest and the best country in the world, and we need to treat our veterans a little bit better than they get treated now. Thank you, Santa Papa John. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Santa. Okay, Mike.
Greetings from my living room. I normally come to you from a dreary bedroom with my logo behind me, but I decided to do things differently. In fact, my wife was out of town for the weekend. I didn't want to sleep in one of those dreary bedrooms with no light, no ventilation. So I moved my mattress into the living room, and I've been sleeping here. She just came home like 5 minutes ago, and she's not happy. So I need some
Now
veterans.
you're going to the doghouse.
That's right. I'll sleep in a doghouse if we had one. So now I'm going to need some veteran support to stand up. Maybe she can crash out here. It was a lovely weekend sleeping in the living room. Well, with my 15 seconds left, I want to invite you to my workshop this coming Thursday. Melissa's been there. Santa Papa John's been there. Storytelling, Ruben's been there. Storytelling for solopreneurs, different format this time. It's like the same as before, except 10 times better. I'll put the invite link in the chat, and I hope to see you Thursday. And
there you go.
I just want everyone
job,
to
Mike.
be wonderful.
Okay, Greg, you're up.
I'm a firm believer that our pets shouldn't only live longer, but they should feel better as well. Hello, I'm Greg Boone. I'm a veteran, an author, and I'm with a company called More Mito. I'm passionate about helping people and their pets thrive at the cellular level. And I'm on a mission to help rescue horses from slaughter. And I would like to ask everyone to find out who your senators are, representatives, call them and urge them to put the SAFE Act on the 2026 Farm Bill. That is what is going to ban the export and transport of horses bound for slaughter.
Thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate that. Okay, Kurt, you're up.
Woo-wee, folks, I'm Kurt Roscoff. I'm here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, USA, and I'm here to brighten up your day. Hooray! I run the Attention Cravers Support Group. What is that? That's podcasting, folks. We use podcasts and talk shows to get attention to what you do. So you come onto our conversational format and do like you do here. Share who you are, what you do, your products, your services, your business journey, anything personally you'd like to share. We love to have fun, so we invite you to bring the skeletons in your closet. So yeah, we get you out there in the YouTube Live, LinkedIn Live, Facebook Live, Instagram Live, X Spaces, Clubhouse, and more. And so it's a little exercise to make sure that everybody that I know knows you. Yahoo! Back to you. Thank you. That's how we do.
Pretty close there.
Yeah, he doesn't get out very
you're
much.
up. You're up. Ruben, are you hearing us? Can you not hear us?
Who's this?
Ruben, you're up.
Okay, it's mine. I'm sorry about that. Okay, Ruben Carrillo, be memorable. Guys, what I put in the chat is what I do is I help local businesses be memorable. Behind you is a lady that has a restaurant, beautiful restaurant. She had me paint her dog Lucy, and she has it now on the wheel of her Jeep there. There's a story that goes along with Lucy. She got lost. So we were trying to find her in different suburbs or whatever. They finally found her. So the whole story that we wanted to deal with is where is Lucy? And where Lucy is, she's at the Parkside Grill where they have great food and great entertainment. So I put that all together in a dynamic landing page. So if you click on the chart on the chat there, you'll be able to see the story of Lucy and how it relates to the restaurant, and also a button that you press, and there comes the beautiful uh, menu of the restaurant itself. So if you know of anybody that needs to be memorable, send them my way. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Ruben. Okay, Dan, you got to be up now.
Should I do it during my?
Well, you still get 60 seconds. You can you can say whatever you want for your 60 seconds.
Okay, I thought I got to defer and add it to the presentation.
We can add it.
That actually works better if you're okay with that.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay, then I will just finish up there. You want to reset my little timer, Santa? Thank you so much. Marianne Guinea, listen to how often sorry, I'm trying to got interrupted here. Listen to how many times you hear somebody say, I can't afford that. That's not in my budget. Many times people need to either save more money or they need to make more money. And some people need to do both. When you shop at Melaleuca, we actually show people how the average person saves somewhere between $50 and $250 a month by shopping here. Supporting Made in America, a brand that has been named one of the most popular brands and trusted brands by USA Today. Sorry, I'm a little discombobulated. We had some stuff going on here. Whoever needs to save money or make money, I can help them do that. And if they want to learn how to start their month at 95% of what they made the month before they ever do a thing, I'm not a distributor. I don't sell products. Love to have a chat with that person. Okay, back up to you, Angela.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Marianne. Let's see. Get back to my sharing my screen. So now it's time for our hero highlight. This handsome young man you see here is with us today. So if you could take a couple of minutes, Santa Papa John, you want to throw a couple of minutes on and tell us a little bit about your service time and what you did.
You said Papa John.
No, I said Santa Papa John to add 2 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I actually put it at the beginning of the presentation, if that's
you
okay.
did? Okay, we'll just add that on.
You need to make me a co-host for me to share my screen?
Yes, I do.
All right, that would help.
Co-host. So Dan Merriman is with Stop Financial Stress is our spotlight speaker today. He was, anybody who was here last week will remember he was with us last week, so we got to all meet him. Hang on, let me make you a co-host so you can share your screen. I had a wonderful one-to-one with him, and I encourage each of you here to have a one-to-one as well. Did you get that? Did it? Yeah, there we go. You're now a co-host. So Santa Papa John, if you could just go ahead and put him 20 minutes on the count on the timer, and that way we can throw your hero highlight, your 1 minute, and everything with a couple minutes to spare. So if you don't need that much time, that's fine too. So let me stop sharing here.
Well, we'll start it off with the picture you threw up there. I figured, okay, I'll use the same one.
Okay.
That was me on my first tour. Back
Okay,
with the
so
short hair.
do you want, are you, the screen that you're sharing is
Yep.
not your presentation screen, so not,
Can you see?
I see
Oh,
the picture, yeah. But
okay.
now if you, I don't know if you,
Now if I switch, you can see the different pictures.
yeah, yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
All
Okay.
right. Okay, we're good then. It's working. Sometimes I'll do a different monitor so I can see what you're seeing. All right. Well, that was my first tour back during the Cold War, back when there was an East and West Germany. Actually, I have a whole box of the Berlin Wall here, just a bunch of concrete, but all the good pieces I gave to my favorite history teacher from high school. But I served first time over there for 2 years in Germany. They assigned me to I was trained light infantry, but they assigned me to a mechanized unit. So there I am driving an armored vehicle with the 50 caliber on top. Um, After my first 2 years, I went on to become a counterintelligence agent for 4.5 years. And I was assigned to North Korea, which I can't talk about too much. So I put the appropriate sign there. Um, but there are some things I can say. I did have a top secret clearance with special access to sensitive items. We dealt with the first trade tower bombing where they blew up part of the garage. We had to go analyze what the bomb was made out of, and that was kept secret for a while. But now you can go on the internet and probably look up the components of, everything and how to make bombs. And interesting enough, even back then, this was 30 years ago, we were stopping North Korea from selling nuclear trigger devices to Iran even back then. So, still fixing the problem today, it sounds like, but they just won't quit. Um, Other than that, I can't tell you too much more of what we did without having to kill you, right? If I told you, I'd have to kill you, is the old saying in the military. But after my military service for about 6.5 years, I went in the financial services industry. I've went on to open several financial offices throughout Utah and California. And then I shared training manuals that I put together. I have a degree in finance from a major university, and I put together training manuals to help train the other offices around, and shared it with fellow offices in the company I was with. And next thing I know, I've got the vice president of the company coming to visit and saying, "Hey, can you train the rest of the company and be our corporate trainer?" So I was fortunate enough I got to train about 80,000 financial professionals throughout the U.S. over the last 33 years. Now I only count the ones where I did in person, 5 to 40 people in a workshop at a time. I don't count Zoom because you can't really measure how many. So, but I got to work in the financial area, training from helping them get their clients out of debt, and then they can save 2 to 3 times as much, to estate planning for people with hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and good problem to have. But who wants to pay more in taxes than you legally and properly need to? What I found was, so currently I do help people. I help businesses typically grow their business, and then help them have an estate tax problem. So then we just solve that once they do. I help them with living trust and charitable remainder trust, foundations and charitable work. I like to help them succeed so they have that problem, and then they can give back to the community more. Um, what I found was, when I was training all the financial reps, the most popular class, I mean, you would think it was this high-end estate planning and all this fancy stuff. It actually was a class on small business tax deductions and what can the independent agent or independent contractor, whether they're a distributor for a health company or whether they're a financial rep that's an independent contracted agent, they want to know, I work hard for my money. I want to know how much I can keep. It's not how much you make that matters, it's how much you keep that matters. And the average small business owner, I love when they say, I just don't have any money, though I need help, whether it's legal or bookkeeping or whatever, marketing. Um, but I don't have the money to do it. So I help them find the money. And the average person um, is usually losing about $10,000 per year, every single year, that they should be able to take deductions on. Now, even if you're a solopreneur, even if you're with you're a distributor for a healthcare company or whatever it may be, you've got a legal business. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the common things. We're going to try and do it in 15 minutes because that's all I've got. What are the common things that can maybe help you save an extra 6 to 12,000? As I said, the average is a little over 10,000 per year, every single year. So you can spend money on your business, with marketing or whatever would help improve your business more, or pay off some debts or whatever you need. Okay. So pay attention. I'm going to go very fast. This is not, first of all, I've got to do the disclaimer. Okay. This isn't tax advice. This is intended to help business owners be aware of ideas and concepts and certain expenses they should be tracking so you can give your tax professional better documentation, record keeping of those business expenses. They can't do your job or do a good job for you unless you document properly, but nobody teaches what should I be tracking? What kind of documentation should I do? And that way, as I said, at the end of the year, your tax professional can tell you, yes, that still is a legal deduction. They haven't changed the tax law, or they changed the law. I'm glad you tracked it because you thought of that one too. Um, all right, let's go for this. Here's what the IRS code said. It's section 162. You can deduct anything or all the ordinary and necessary expenses. Now, in every business, what's ordinary and necessary? I know a lot of doctors and people who make a very high income. Well, their spouse might be a travel agent, because what's an ordinary and necessary expense when you're a travel agent? Well, I got to go check out Hawaii before I can recommend it, right? I've got to check it. That's ordinary. Real estate, there's real estate in Hawaii or Tahiti or wherever you want to check out. But what's ordinary and necessary that can be a legitimate business expense? So let's think differently for a minute. What's ordinary and necessary for your business? I'm going to go over 10 common things. There are hundreds more that can save you money too, but I'm just going to give you 10 common things that pretty much work for every business. Let's do it real quick. Home office deductions. Take the square footage of your home, take the space you're using for your business purpose. Maybe it's just an office. Now, if it's only an office, you do get to count a bathroom. So every office has to have access to a bathroom. So you get to count that square footage too. Let's say it's 400 square feet to combine the bathroom in your office. You have a 2,000 square foot house. Basically 20% of your rent or mortgage, your utilities, your security alarm system, whatever is necessary, take the percentage, and that's what you can deduct from the common bills, your homeowner insurance, your HOA fees, general repair, all that kind of stuff. Track it so you can get the proper deduction. Obviously, office supplies, simple stuff. Ink cartridges are expensive. Make sure you keep the receipts. Equipment for your business, marketing and advertising, any kind of SEO service, Google ads, printing flyers, whatever it is. All those things are deductible. Remember, you might make a great profit. I've seen a lot of people, but then they don't track the expenses and they're paying taxes on all their revenue. So what matters is get as many deductions as you can to offset your tax burden. You legally have a right to do so. Professional services, legal, accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, consulting. If you go to a business seminar, make sure you deduct that. Mileage use for your car. It's now gone up to 72 and a half cents, thanks to the price of gas, right? It's almost $1 a mile. I drive about 15,000 miles for business purposes per year, and I've written off about $12,000 because of that. Well, when I go to the grocery store, I don't just pick up eggs and milk. I'm going there to advertise. I'm going there to put my business card up on the bulletin board because I'm doing marketing and advertising. Oh yeah, by the way, honey, yes, I did pick up some eggs and milk and other things along the way. But I did that during my business marketing trip. Okay. Now you can use Everlance, Mileage IQ, QuickBooks Online has a mileage app. Use some app out there There's lots of free stuff. I just happen to use this one. So some people ask, what do you use? That Everlance charges like, I don't make any money on it, so this isn't a plug, but they charge like $60 a year. But hey, if I'm able to write off $12,000, it's worth tracking on an app. Travel cost. Now, what is considered travel cost? There's, standard mileage deduction, things like that for cars, but what about if you go on a business trip? I was training financial offices in 17 states, 17 Western states, including Hawaii. And I had a couple come to me that were new agents in the financial industry. And they said, well, could you connect us with can you connect us with a local business in Hawaii that we can go talk shop with and, swap business ideas and stuff like that? Because they wanted a business trip. Now, they also were talking about getting married and wanted to go on a honeymoon to Hawaii. How convenient during their business trip. But it was a business trip, right? Now, how do you deduct something like that? Well, here's what the rules say. We can go through all the fine print. Let me give you the gist of it. What qualifies? All right, let's go down to this. Here we go. Half of your days for their trip, let's say they had an 8-day trip. The IRS requires the majority of your days that you're doing business. Okay. Well, what's the majority of the days? I've got to do, let's do 5 out of 8 just to be safe. Well, your travel day to and from, in this case, Wednesday and a Thursday on either end, was considered a business travel day. Okay, because you had to get there. They did a meeting on Friday and they had another meeting on Monday. Well, because they had to wait over until the meeting on Monday, the Saturday, Sunday is also considered business day. So technically, they have 6 business days out of 8 in which they did enough business. Now, they had a meeting Friday, met with the guy, took him out to lunch. If you got a call, say, hey, I'm coming to town, could we talk shop? What works good for your office versus mine? I'd like to take you to dinner. Yeah, the guy's probably going to meet with them, right? They talked enough business to consider it a business day, and it qualified for their Friday meeting and their Monday meeting, which gave them the weekend and the travel days. The majority of the trip was for business. Oh, yeah, happy honeymoon, by the way, to the happy couple. And on their profit loss statement right there on line 20, what is that? 24A is where the travel is. Okay, next idea. Business meals. Typically, you can usually write about 50% of it off. Okay, they have changed the laws periodically, so track it. If they didn't change the laws, it's still 50%. If they change the laws, track it because you never know. The IRS does change, or the government does change the rules every year. Now, which ones they change, I'd rather have it documented so I have the option. Now, what's interesting is if you're meeting with a client and that client, their spouse came along, well, you need to have your spouse come along so spouses can keep, a good conversation going so you can be talking with the client directly. So now it makes your spouse and their spouse's meals deductible too, not just you and the client. But if they don't have their spouse there, you can't write your spouse off. Okay. Does that make sense? Employees, pay wages. I like to hire my kids. Now, I had 5 kids. I like to teach them hard work. I like to teach them to wash the company car, take out the company trash, mow the company lawn if you have clients visiting your house. All these things, I'm going to transfer as much money as I can to them. Now, they have to have a time card. They have to have a job description. It needs to be properly documented. Now, if they're under age 14, you're typically, you can't get away with paying them more than minimum wage. It is different per state, but the federal minimum wage is $7.25. If your state's higher, you can get away with that. If they're over 14, pay them according to their experience. Now, my kids are so much better at the computer and bookkeeping and stuff than I am. So I let them do the part of the administrative work for the company. Have you ever seen If kids are younger, it's got to be a job appropriate and a pay appropriate for that job kind of description. Now, have you ever seen where families? I had a doctor, he had a practice, my neighbor. He put his medical practice up on a big billboard. Hey, come see, my general family practice. And he had his kids on there. Well, why did he have his 1 or 2 year old kid there? It wasn't because they're some pretty model, but because if you had to have, the family look and you had to hire a model, what would you have to pay a child model? What's the going rate? Guess what? That's what he got to pay his child model. Happened to be his kid. Now, what's the bracket for the first 15 or now 16,100? If what's the bracket of your kids for that first $16,000? Okay, times my 5 kids, I can potentially move about $80,000 to other kids in the family, let them pay for their own cheerleading lessons and uniforms and all that expensive stuff. Let them pay for their own school lunches out of the money they earn. But I also teach them to work and allow them an opportunity to earn money. Because they have earned income, they can also contribute to a Roth IRA. If they're putting money in at their initial bracket, it's now growing tax deferred and you can take it out tax free in a Roth IRA. That is the ideal. Plus, they have time and compounding interest on their side. So, just an idea, because they do have earned income. Take advantage of that kind of stuff. If you need payroll, they've got to be on payroll. They've got to be paid by a company check, things like that. If you need a referral, I can contact me and I can give you one. Now, here's the biggest expense: healthcare nowadays. Here's just one idea. There's several you can do in the healthcare area, but I only have 3 minutes. So one idea is what they call a health reimbursement arrangement. Okay. If you work for a big company and the benefit plan, you hear of companies, they'll cover the healthcare, or not just normal insurance and all that, they'll cover a gym membership or spa treatments or whatever. Hey, that's a great benefit, right? Well, why not give benefits to your employees in your company? Now, you can't discriminate. It's got to be equal for all employees. But who are the employees? You, right? Maybe your spouse or some kids. So be very liberal in your health reimbursement arrangement. And what it says is the employees at the end of the month can be reimbursed for any out-of-pocket medical expenses. Okay, so everything that's not covered by health insurance, they can submit, and for the average family, it becomes pretty significant. All of those non-healthcare qualified things that are out-of-pocket co-pays, elective surgeries, dental care, vision, cosmetic. My wife had some elective surgery. It cost $20,000. Well, as an employee of my company, she's able to be reimbursed by my company if she submits that as a medical expense, because in my policy, I say it covers everybody in the family or the employee and their immediate family. So it now covers the employee and me and kids and so forth. And it covers, of course, I want to cover massage therapy. I want to cover stuff that I'm very generous for my employees. Now, obviously, as I said, you can't discriminate. It's got to be, but when it's within the family, be very liberal. Does that make sense? Contact lenses, nutritional products. If you work for a nutritional company, hey, this is a way you can make weight loss products, all kinds of stuff deductible if your plan is written accordingly. Now, there's 16 things you've got to do. I don't have time to go over them all, but basically the average person family is about $11,000 just in that deduction alone. Now, what can you do with an extra $10,000? As I said, expand your marketing, do self-improvement seminars to improve your business skills, get the legal help and bookkeeping help or tax help you need. You can expand your business funding. You can even get 0% business credit cards and build business credit for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which then gives you other options to grow your business faster. There's over 100 deductions that you can do. Obviously, we don't have time. I got 30 seconds left. The most important thing is track it, have a good record keeping system, and then take it to the professionals so they can do the job. It's like giving ammo to your machine gun. If you don't give them ammo, you can't shoot anything, right? You get no deductions. There is a free app out there if you need help in bookkeeping. It's called Boss Tax. It's for self-employed. They don't charge anything, but they do give you an option to do taxes later at the end of the year. Is how they make their money. So if you got questions or want an individual appointment, we can go over your situation, see if we can help find you some money so you can help expand your business or do other better things. All right, that's it. I'm over by 15 seconds.
Fantastic. No, that's great information. And we do have a couple of minutes if anybody has any questions.
I've trained 1,400 CPAs, so go ahead, ask whatever you want. Now it's not tax advice, just education.
Ruben has his hand up.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Great job, Dan. I love the last point that you made. Track it and keep records. I systematically go in, and we only have one credit card, and we have a bank statement. So every single month, I go ahead because my wife is a realtor, so she has certain expenses. I have certain expenses.
Yep.
Then if you're so blessed, have your child become a financial advisor.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you,
or call Angela if you don't have a kid, that is.
I have a question for you.
Separated on separate bank accounts, make sure it's on a separate business credit card, things like that, make it so much better for tracking. But the important part, just like on mileage, after you do the trip, always put in the notes section, what was the business purpose? I was marketing. I went by the bank to deposit a check. Now I also did my personal banking, but I did my business banking, on the way on the trip. If you had to stop by several other errands on the way, well, the overall trip was for the marketing I went to the grocery store with, right? But you can deduct the entire trip, the round trip. It doesn't have to be just the direct distance. But you need to put in the notes section to make it more audit proof. What was the business purpose of that trip when you're doing mileage? Or same thing with receipts on your business. Don't just say here's the printout from the bank statement or the credit card right next to it, what the business purpose was. Office supplies, travel expense, whatever it may be. Okay. Yeah. Somebody else had a question, you said?
Well, you just were talking about it, and I was going to say you can get, I know my ex-husband and I had a lot of travel with our business, and we just had those little books. We would just put it like in the center console.
Oh yeah.
Yep. And actually write it if you don't, if
nowadays with apps, it's a little easier for habit's sake, because not everybody has a good habit to every time you stop to take 5 seconds and write it down. But with the app, it'll notify you and it'll say, was that business or personal? Swipe this way or that way, and then put the note.
The other thing is our accountant always wanted to know. So there were times when my ex-husband would have to go to, like 300 miles away, and he would end up spending the night. He would get there so late sometimes
if
that
it's
he would just stay in his car.
Yeah. If it's a certain distance, it's got to be, I think it's like 60 miles. Don't quote me on that, but there's a certain distance. If it's more and it requires staying over the night, the entire trip is deductible, including I had to have my laundry service done while I was there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, dry cleaning or whatever.
He had told us that even if he slept in the car, which happened on occasion, like if he would get there really too late and he would just crash in his car, as long as we had the zip code of where it was that he stayed, that it would count, because it went by the zip code, how much they allowed. It didn't really matter how much he paid for the motel that he stayed at.
Oh, they're saying an equivalent motel, even though this was a mobile one.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. You'll have to check on the CPA account for that year by year, but yeah,
I definitely recommend getting a good CPA if you have any kind of
But the
lots
idea
of expenses like
is
that.
document as much as you can and then bring it to them and say, hey, I documented this. Is this still, these are the ones that are obvious that now there was one a cruise. I was the for Isogenics, I know the guy who made the formula originally for their weight loss, and they asked me to speak for on estate planning as one of their speakers on their cruise for the top distributors. And they said, "Oh, well, this is deductible." And I said, "Let me look at it, make sure you did it right." They ended up having me speak on this subject too, by the way, because they're like, "Well, everybody should have a business, and just for the deductions." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, as long as it's not a hobby, you got to have a business purpose and an intent to make a profit." But yeah, they should. So they should join your company, or if they don't have a company, you know, be an entrepreneur. But one thing, the cruise wasn't deductible because of somebody speaking on the cruise and so forth, even though they had some great speakers. What it was the cruise is looked at from an IRS standpoint is you're going to a convention. Okay. So the convention was in St. Thomas. It was one of their stops. We had to promote the convention. Now, the way to get there was this water taxi called a cruise, just like you would take a plane flight to get to the convention and so forth. And a cruise, you can deduct, at the time, it was like $650 per night, 7-night cruise. You get a balcony cabin for about $5,000. So, yes, it made it up to that amount deductible. But you have to look at it as the convention or going to the convention is how the IRS rules are written, and everything to get there, the expenses written off at a certain amount per day. And yes, a cruise is a means of transportation to get to that convention. So then we made it deductible. I said,
Dan, it's
here's the
amazing how
tax
many
law and the right way to do it.
Dan, it's amazing how many CPAs won't be that creative with the finances, and they'll just go, nope, you can't claim that. Nope, you can't claim that.
I give them the tax law. I'm like, here's a 3-page document. Here's
But it's
exactly what it is.
amazing how
Look it
many
up.
CPAs are
Yeah.
lazy when you say that statement. Because I'm a retired truck driver, and I help many of my friends going, you can claim all this per diem. Oh, my CPA says no, you can't. Well, then it's time to fire
Because they
your
don't want to do
CPA.
their job. Yeah. But
Right.
there's plenty of good ones too. It's just who's going to keep up to date on the tax law. I'm not going to do your taxes,
Absolutely.
so it's not me. But here's some
Yeah.
ideas, at least to track it. So whatever the tax laws are at the end of the year, hey, don't pay more than you need to. And documentation allows you to avoid that or to minimize and pay your proper amount.
Melissa, you had your hand up. Did you have a quick question? Like maybe
More of a comment, but what I was gonna say, yeah, I had a CPA. I'd come to him with a lot of some of these ideas. You got a little craftier with them than I was getting, so thank you for that. And they just told me, "Oh yeah, we could do that." And then I started figuring out there's a difference between the CPAs and the CPA EFs or the CPA whatever they are that goes into the financial advising side to save on the taxes. Is that still the case, or are they all pretty much CPAs? They all pretty much know they're just not doing their job.
No, a lot of CPAs, they're formally trained. I have a degree in finance and heavy into accounting, but they train you to be a corporate accountant. They don't really think about what a small business owner deals with. And so it's not naturally in their school training. And so when in doubt, well, we'll just say no. Well, if they take the time to educate themselves on here's the common stuff that is okay, it's perfectly legal. Just do it the right way. You've got to document it the right way, just like on the healthcare or health reimbursement arrangement. There's 16 things that you have to do to make sure it stays compliant. I don't have time to go over them, but there's a company, they'll do it for you, make sure you stay compliant, and actually issue the checks for reimbursement every year. If you're interested, I can give you that information, pass on to them.
I think
They're very reasonable.
it's also important to get a CPA who's familiar with your whatever kind of business you have, because we were in the heavy equipment business and we were buying and selling equipment, and we switched CPAs, and the CPA the new CPA did not know what he was doing. Was he was looking at it from a completely different point of view than what our original CPA had done, and it really messed things up towards the end. So yeah, it's super important. Like if you're in finance, you kind of want to get somebody who is familiar with that. Can y'all see my screen? I'm going to go
Right.
ahead and
Oh yeah, let me
run
stop
us.
here. So
Thank
it's remember it's what's ordinary and necessary. So yeah, a CPA that's familiar with your industry and what's ordinary and necessary there.
Yeah. And I do know some good, I'm sure you know some good CPAs too,
Right.
Dan. So,
Oh yeah, I've got a network of them that
mhm.
specialize in different industries because you can't know nobody can know everything.
Right, right. So, can y'all see the inspirational thought? This is Rear Admiral Grace Hopper, who is inventor of the compiler and Presidential Medal of Freedom recipient, said, "Leadership is a two-way street, loyalty up and loyalty down, respect for one's superiors, care for one's crew." That book I was telling y'all about, It's Your Ship, really stresses that point. It's a great book. And then I'm going to thank everybody for being here, especially thank you, Dan, for your presentation. That was great. And I want to open it up now for announcements and testimonials. So I'm going to stop share so we can all see each other. Anybody have any announcements or testimonials? No, well, I'm going to wrap the meeting up. I think Ruben is going to be speaking in a couple of weeks. And Ruben, what were you going to be talking to us about? You want to give us like a 1 minute test appetizer?
Teaser.
Basically, it's what I'm going to be showing. I'll be demonstrating the techniques that we use. For instance, right now, I just had an idea. This is a particular promo using an animal to promote the restaurant, okay? Because they're all connected. The story was in social media, whatever. Greg has a great foundation he's going after for protecting horses, and he has medical with the for pets, etc. That might be another idea that Greg, you and I might want to kick together and put together something to show everybody that there's a story in your business. If you have a deep story where people can relate to and identify with, they'll listen to you and they will give you the business. Just like this lady gave me this business.
Mm.
So I'll come up with some kind of current story that I developed. Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Greg,
Yeah,
okay.
you got for some reason when you were telling the story about the dog and the dog being found and how it was related to the restaurant and everything, it reminded me of this sign one time we saw when I was growing up, and uh, it said something like Bubba's barbecue and taxidermy.
Barbie. Oh no.
So
Well,
I don't
re
know why, but
That
my
like the
mind went
Roadkill Express?
well, remember the wheel cover as well as car wraps and all that. That's just advertising. It's deductible.
yeah.
Remind
Yeah.
them of that. Make sure they write
Yeah.
it off.
I'll
Don't pay
definitely
more than
tell
you
him that.
legally
Thank
have
you,
to.
Dan. And especially since my name is on the bottom of it.
There you go, advertising.
Well,
Perfect.
Dan, here's a giggle for you. Back in the DJ world, we'd go to a convention and they'd go, you can write off all your cable for your house, and we'd go, why can we write off all your cable? Well, you're watching MTV, so you're doing homework and you're doing, you're
Research.
digging in, so you are allowed to write off all your cable.
Ah,
Yeah. Keep track
interesting.
of any kind of utility, including high-speed internet, all that stuff, and
Yep.
now in your cable TV. If it's ordinary necessary for your business and you can justify the business purpose, go for it. And then see a good CPA, see if they can make sure it's still current according to the current law. But
Hmm.
do the documentation.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Dan,
Great
again for
presentation,
the
Dan.
presentation.
You're welcome.
And
Hopefully it
I'm
saved you
gonna,
guys some money.
all right, I'm gonna stop the recording now so everybody can say bye. Or did I stop it already? Let me see here. Oh, I must have stopped the recording. Nope. There it is.